Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is very exciting because I have a yarn haul, but this yarn haul is slightly different in the sense that I got all of this yarn off Facebook Marketplace. So it was a combination of some already used yarn and some unused yarn balls. I'm very excited because I don't really know all of the yarn that's in there. It's kind of gonna be a surprise as I'm going along, but I hope this is enjoyable. My plan for this year was to de-stash my entire yarn stash, which wasn't very big to begin with because I only started crocheting about a year and a half ago, so I didn't accumulate a lot of yarn. But I do still have a few balls of yarn that I know I won't be using, so I'm thinking that if there's anything in this yarn bag that I've got from Facebook Marketplace that I know I won't be using, I'll be putting that and the yarn that I already have into a bag and donate it to charity. But let's get started. I have a big bag of yarn. It's not the prettiest packaging because it's all in a trash bag, but here it is. It's a lot of yarn, so I'm just gonna go out here. Ah! Oh no, it's going everywhere. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here we have all the yarn that I acquired, and I paid 10 British pounds for this whole stash, which I think is a pretty good deal. Even though from what I can see already, it looks like mostly acrylic yarn, but might be some nice surprises in here. So let's get started. So the main reason why I bought this was because I saw these little guys in the picture on Facebook Marketplace, and especially this color palette. I kind of fell in love with it and I kind of wanted to make a, I guess like scrap yarn top or cardigan. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm hoping if I have these and these and a couple more things. I'm not in love with this color palette, but yeah, these two were the main reason why I bought all this yarn, because I wanted to make a top out of them. So let's get started. This all looks like acrylic yarn. It feels pretty soft. I'm not sure if those are 50 grams or 25 grams because there's no label on them. But I love the color scheme, so I would definitely be keeping that one. Same for this one, a few different colors which I think would go nicely together. The only one I'm not a huge fan of is this very intense yellow. Even though I'm sitting on yellow chairs, I actually am not a big fan of the color yellow, but I think I'll be keeping those anyway. I'll just continue going through the bags so we can get those out of the way. Then we have these ones, which again, I'm not loving these colors. They're not terrible. I might get rid of some of the colors in this pack. Next up, we have another little bag of little skeins, and these ones still have a label on. So this one says 100% acrylic, charm, 22 grams. Again, they feel pretty soft, and I'm kind of liking some of the colors I'm seeing here. I think they could work well with the others for the scrap top / cardigan project that I have in mind. Seeing 2 more bags in here, so I'm just going to grab those really quickly. So this is the first one. Again, quite a cute color scheme. I think I will be keeping this one. If there's any color in here that I don't like, it's probably this pinkish red. But other than that, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing, so I'll put this in the keep stash. And then the last one is this package, which has some somewhat more muted colors, but still some good options in there that I think would work nicely for either a top or even a fun colorful scarf. So now we can move on to all the loose yarn balls that we have around here. Immediately I'm seeing this chunky boy. So I'm not too sure what weight yarn this is, but I would say maybe chunky weight. And right off the bat it feels pretty soft. Again, I think this is acrylic and I can definitely see myself making something out of it, so I'll be keeping this one. Next up we have some what looks like super chunky black yarn. Again, I don't think this will be enough to make a project out of, but it might be useful for a scrap project or making a border, a thicker border for a black cardigan or even a blanket. Next up, I'm seeing this yarn, which I'm pretty sure this is the Stitchcraft DK yarn because I have recently made something out of this exact same yarn, exact same color. Let me grab it really quick. So about a month, or I think 2 months ago, I made these crochet sleeves with some of my scrap yarn, and as you can see, the main color that I was using here, the main color yarn, seems to be a perfect match to this, so I'm convinced that this is in fact the same yarn. I do like the color, so I'm going to keep it. I'm kind of starting to feel as if I'm going to keep all the yarn that I've gotten, but that's because my yarn stash is pretty empty at the moment, so I will do a full destash later on. Now, I did see this yarn in the photo that was attached to the Facebook Marketplace ad. There are quite a few skeins of it. I found 7 so far. I don't know if there are more. But right now, I'm not exactly loving it. I can't really tell. It's kind of a mix of 2 different yarn colors. Hang on, I'm trying to come closer to show you. So this is what it looks like up close. And then this is what the strand looks like. It's quite a pretty yarn, but I'm not sure what I could make out of it. Maybe a summer flowy top, if I'm going to keep it. I'm kind of undecided on whether I want to keep that one or not. So I'll put it aside for now. And moving on, we have this big boy, 150 grams of acrylic double knitting machine washable yarn in a quite pretty green color. I think I might keep this one because I do like working with greens, but I'll see how it goes. If I don't find a project for it, it might go into the donation box. Next up, we have another green ball of yarn. This is JK Wool's Quality Chunky in the shade doesn't have a name, it's just a number 2984. Again, it feels quite nice, quite soft, and it could be quite pretty to work with, but again, not enough to make a single project, so I'd have to mix it up with another yarn. Next up, this one did catch my eye when I was looking at the ad, and now that I have it in my hands, it's so soft. So this is the Knitcraft by Hobbycraft, leader of the pack, Aran, 100 grams with 90% acrylic and 10% alpaca. I've never used anything else other than acrylic and recently an acrylic wool and mohair mix. But yeah, alpaca is definitely something I've never worked with, and this feels incredibly soft. So I might go ahead and see if I can find more of this yarn, because I think either a sweater or a cardigan in this yarn would be absolutely amazing because it feels so good. Next up, I'm gonna go for the ones that have a tag on for now, because that will make it easier for me as I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to yarns. So this one is the Sirdar Wash and Wear Double Crip DK. And it's quite a cute lilac, soft purplish color. This is definitely up my alley because I do love purple as well as green and black. So I will definitely be keeping this. And then we have a few of this very intense purple yarn, which also, it doesn't feel great. It feels very plasticky. It almost feels like a sponge, weirdly. And this one is the Hermit Triacetate Nylon Double Knitting Machine Washable. Oh, okay, so it is interesting. Nylon. I don't know, is this the same as acrylic or is it something different? I don't know, but if you know, let me know in the comments. But simply based on the feel of it and the color, I don't think I'm gonna keep these because I don't think it would feel very nice on the skin. So this is what it looks like up close. And it's in the color Aubergine. So yeah, I think this might be a donation item, but I'll decide later on when I destash. Next up, we have the Crip Twist Patterns Double Knitting yarn in this very soft yellow. It feels better than the others. It still doesn't feel extremely soft, but it's not quite as bad as the purple yarn that I showed you before. But just based on the feel, I think this might be a donation box one as well. And there we go. Another one with a tag. This one is the Knitting Essential Aran yarn. And this one feels nice. I'm loving the color as well. It's a bit more of a mustardy yellow. And it does feel quite nice and soft. So I think I will be keeping this. I think it would go quite nicely with some browns or maybe even greens. So I can see myself using this one. And then we have this very yellow Knitting and Crochet Wildflower Bright Yellow 22 grams yarn. This one also feels quite soft and nice. I don't know if I would use this color. As I said, I'm not very big on yellows, but it might go well as an accent color. But for now, I'm kind of on the fence about keeping it. And then we have a couple more from the same brand. So the Knitting and Crochet Wildflower. We have one in dark purple and one in pretty blue. I do like these colors, so if I can find some project to use them in, I might keep them. Otherwise, they might go in the donation box as well. And then we have a really a strange and fun little guy here. This one is the Wildflower Pom Pom yarn. It has such an interesting texture with little pom-poms, as the name suggests. But it kind of reminds me of like a floor mop, weirdly, or a carpet. But this might be fun to use as a little accent if you're making like some crochet sleeves. Adding them at the bottom could be quite fun. I might keep this just because it's so different and I've never used it before. And then the last thing that I have, with tags still attached, are these Knitting Essential Natura cotton. And I think this is the same, so I've just bundled them together. So yeah, just some cotton yarn, which I'm probably going to keep because I've been slowly making some face cloths to use in our home because I like the texture of it and it just feels nice to have that handmade touch to the bathroom. Okay, so we're now moving into unknown territory. I will probably not be very good at explaining these yarns, but I'm gonna try my best. So this is the most colorful one that really popped out. It seems to be a ball of yarn where the color kind of changes as you go. So it goes from orange, purple, pink, orange, and blue. I think I said orange twice, but yeah, there's a lot of orange in there. In terms of weight, I think it's double knitted, but I'm not sure. Up next, we have a bunch of yellow yarn, so I'm just gonna bundle it all together. Even though they are slightly different weights, I think, because they do feel slightly different, but let me just get it all together. So here it is. We have 7 little bundles of yellow yarn. I think these balls of yarn are slightly thinner than these two. I think these are maybe double. I think these are maybe DK, and these might be chunky, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, in terms of color, not really my favorite, so I might be putting those in the donation box. Next up, we just have this little ball of orange yarn. Again, it just feels like a normal acrylic yarn. It doesn't feel terribly plasticky, but I don't know if I love the color. If I don't have another orange in my bags of colorful yarn, I might end up keeping this one. Moving on, these are probably my least favorite out of the entire bundle. I really don't like this yellowish tint that this yarn has to it. And this ball is also the same color. Again, acrylic yarn. This might be Aran weight or DK. Again, I'm not very good with describing yarn or knowing its weight. And without a tag, I'm pretty clueless. This will definitely be going into the donation box because I don't see myself using it. Up next, we have these 5 balls of, I think this might be Aran or smaller blush cream. I'm not sure what this color is, but it's quite soft and muted, so I do see myself using this for a project. So I might end up keeping those. I think this is also acrylic. It doesn't feel like anything special. I'll now be moving on to this brown yarn. This one feels like a Aran or smaller, and then this one feels slightly thicker, but it also feels quite plasticky and almost sticky to the touch. I don't really like the texture of it, so this might go into the donation box. But then I do have, I think, another one of this one, which feels nice. And this ball of yarn, which is slightly different, a slightly different shade of brown, but it feels to be very similar to this one rather than this one. So I might be keeping these 3, but not this one. Up next, we have this very pink, bright pink yarn. And this one is a little different. It feels almost like it has the texture of a rope. So I wonder if this is something that could be used for crocheting a bag or something that needs to hold its structure more. But if that's the case, I don't have enough of it, but I still like it. It's very cute, and I hope you can see the texture from here. Next up, we have this really fun, soft, brightish pink/peach yarn with glitter going through it, so it's pretty cute. I've never worked with yarn that has glitter in it, so I might try it out and see how it feels, how it looks when I'm trying to make something, but it could be a fun little accent. Up next, we have this, I love this green shade of yarn, but it's not a lot there. So again, I might bundle it up with these when I'm making a scrap yarn, cardigan top, scarf, whatever. I'm definitely going to be keeping this. It's acrylic as well and it doesn't feel great, but if I only need to use it for a couple rows, it might be okay. Over here we have another two-toned yarn. This one is in some soft pink and blue, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of cute, but also I don't really know what I would make out of it because, again, there's not enough in here to finish a project, I don't think. Maybe it would be enough for like a bra or a headband or something like that. Though I must say this one does feel a lot softer to the touch than the rest. So even though I think it is acrylic, it might have something like silk in it, but I might be completely wrong. But that's just how it feels to me compared to the other acrylics yarn that we've looked at so far. And then last but not least, we have these two tiny balls of yarn. This one is like an off-white, grayish kind of thing acrylic. And this one is a cute little combination of browns, some reds, some yellows. I would have actually loved a big ball of this because I love this palette. But it's all I've got. So yeah, that was my yarn haul. I hope you found it fun. And I don't know, what do you think? Was it worth it? £10? Because I think it was. Even though I'm probably not going to keep and use all of this, I still think that I got quite a bit of value out of what I've purchased. And I am looking forward to making some projects with these yarns. Do let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video or if you would like to see similar content to this one on my channel in the future, because I could do more yarn hauls once I use up some of my yarn. And I'm also planning on making a video where I'm clearing out my stash and reorganizing it, so that should be coming up soon. Other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel or liking this video. I will put in a quick preview of all the yarn that I got. I've laid it down on the floor and kind of color coordinated it, but not really. And so you can judge it better. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.